The Ultimate Fighting Championship is a game of mental warfare. It may be the 25 minutes inside the octagon that decides legacies, records, and titles, but it's the months of verbal skirmishing beforehand that can have a fight won before Bruce Buffer bellows those famous words.
I'm gonna show you what it's like to beat you. Every childhood memory you have is gonna come back when I'm in there with you.
Gone are the days of cordiality between two warriors. It's now a roster of showmen, and for better or for worse, the verbal architects of the fight game are here to stay. The art of mental warfare can be ignored by the most stoic and unmoved. But for the vulnerable few, complete psychological collapse before a punch has been thrown. This is a history of mental destruction in the UFC. Who else but the Notorious? Ireland's very own stands as one of the first true pioneers of mental warfare, and arguably the most infamous of them too. Whilst characters like Chael P. Sonnen played the role of the pantomime villain perfectly, each and every one of McGregor's words on the mic came laced with chilling tones of sincerity.
His shots are basic, and I believe this is where it comes to an end. You know, when he walks into something sharp off me, he's going to hit the canvas hard, and that will be that.
Mystic Mac was the name, and for very good reason. Being able to call the exact outcome of your fight before the bell was even sounded is the boldest statement of them all. But Conor knew that the specific men he would go on to face, the mental erosion caused would far outweigh any risk.
I like the kid. He's a quiet little hillbilly from the back ass of nowhere. You know, I've nothing against the guy, you know what I mean? I'm sure he grew up in a circus or a fair, you know, he's a nice little kid. So his chin is going to be cracked, and it's going to be cracked early.
A young, hungry, up-and-coming Dustin Poirier was the perfect first victim. Far from the mentally disciplined and successful contender he would go on to become, the early rendition was a man vulnerable outside of the cage more than in. A man with the biggest of chips on his shoulder.
We're ready to fall.
I've never disliked somebody that much that I've ever fought.
You ain't shit, boy. You ain't shit. Yeah, you ain't shit. What's up? That's good. What's up?
The seeds had been planted, and Conor knew well that the war was almost won. Dustin was fired up on all cylinders and ready, in his mind, to slay the hype train where it stood. But the brutal, harsh reality, he was right in the Irishman's pocket.
Man, they have been on each other's nerves for weeks. This fight between Poirier and McGregor. Here we go!
Another nice leg kick by Poirier. He's so loose.
Yeah.
Even, you know, like a high-profile fight like this.
Conversation, looking to finish the fight.
That's it.
It's all over. Just like that.
Wow.
So I said I'd knock him out in the first round, and I knocked him out in the first round. You can call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Dustin's loss was a necessary lesson in the art of warfare, one that he would take all the teachings from. Their legendary trilogy years down the line would prove as much. Dustin's hardened years of war fortifying the mind, body, and soul, making him immune to the verbal attacks Conor once emitted with spite and venom.
It was a lot better than that.
The build up to the last fight, you were unusually kind to Dustin. Now on fight week, it's the exact...
Poirier would not be the first victim of the Irishman's antics, though. Of course, the most infamous of them all is that of the legendary Jose Aldo. The most dominant and long-reigning champion the featherweight division has ever seen, the King of Rio carried the heavy burden of high expectations to deliver time and time again. And for over 10 years, he would do so. Through the WEC and UFC once the two merged, he at times seemed invincible. Unchallenged for a total of 9 title defenses, but none before him amidst the era of sportsmanship had ever dared to contest him outside of it. And McGregor, in his ascendancy, would play the ace hiding up his sleeve.
Thanks so much.
He might get mad.
Who might get mad? Where's he at? What's he gonna do?
Yo, dream.
You like it?
Yeah, I'm dreaming.
It looks good, right?
No, never.
Say goodbye.
What you gonna do? You wanna do something? You wanna do something? You wanna do something? You're a Brazilian bitch. One king gets old. He starts getting sloppy, he starts stagnating. Then a young gorilla comes up and kills him and takes everything he owns. You cannot let an outside influence get into your head. That's on you. He has allowed that to happen.
No stone was left unturned. From the haunting predictions, the scathing remarks, undermining everything Jose had built. With the entire world seemingly on his side, Conor had become the nightmare Aldo would dream about at night.
Back in the World Tour is a different time. Like I said, I acted true to myself in that moment. Now it is a new time. Now war is upon us. I am calm, cold, ruthless, and ready to take out
the body that's in front of me.
Their initial bout cancellation through injury only further played into McGregor's hands too, allowing those psychological seeds to sprout even further. And when the two would finally clash, the once raring and ready Aldo was now a man isolated and afraid.
Conor looks extremely loose. Smiling. Oh! He slapped him! Conor McGregor is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world!
New champion of the world, the no-toll.
He practiced that step off to the side. Look on the left. Yeah. That's Conor pretending to be Aldo, and this is him. Bam. Look, see? He's walking how Aldo does, and boom.
Oh, wait.
The perfect storm. Months upon months of torment had left Jose with the drive to play the front foot from the first bell, leading him right into McGregor's finishing blow. His systematic dismantling of opponents on such a level was truly remarkable. Again, working on the vulnerable Eddie Alvarez in a bid to become the world's first simultaneous double champ.
You're blessed that I chose to whoop your ass next.
The fight would show a champion dejected, feeling the weight of expectations and the seismic event ahead that he would be headlining. McGregor's victory was a given, and the games wouldn't end in the build-up either. Taunting with his hands behind his back, the bravado and brashness shown in the press conferences had been maintained in the cage, all before one final coup de grace that sent the nail directly into the mental coffin.
It is all over. History has been made.
Disappointed. I didn't fight a good fight. I went in with a plan and stick to the plan. I think I paid for it.
McGregor's mental warfare had got him the ultimate prize, catapulted him into superstardom. Mystic Mac was now a household name. Only the money fights lay ahead. But against the stoic and feared Khabib Nurmagomedov, for the first time, McGregor's typical verbal and psychological assaults would not inflict damage, rather be nullified entirely.
Just let me give him.
I'm gonna go like my last fight.
Happy birthday.
Like I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I never drink.
I'll tell you some booze at parties.
I never drink.
You're mad backwards. You're dead when I get my hands on you, do you hear me?
The Nurmagomedov clan is one forged in the hard mountains of Dagestan, away from the comfort-filled life that many take for granted. To them and Khabib, fighting is a way of life, chasing legacy, the ultimate goal. Conor's actions had made it personal, no doubt. To insult a man's religion, your family, would be enough to crack the strongest of wills. But the key was that Khabib would not let it affect him when the chips were down. He was all in, with one final play left to make.
Oh! Massive right from Nurmagomedov!
They know what he wants to do. They can't stop him.
There's the choke.
He's got it. It's under the neck.
There's the tap! Still undisputed! Khabib Nurmagomedov!
The Russian had won the battle, but with the score now settled, all of the long-tolerated abuse stored up could finally be released in a moment of catharsis.
He jumps the fence. Whoa! No! And he's going right at Dylan Dennis! Mayhem! Oh, no! Total chaos here. It looks like UFC security has corralled Khabib Nurmagomedov.
The Irishman may have been the first to showcase the potential of mental warfare, but he certainly wasn't the last. Bantamweight history maker TJ Dillashaw has in many instances been both the hammer and the nail on the pre-fight front. And against former king Dominic Cruz, his verbal efforts would be entirely in vain. As the reigning champ, Dillashaw held the cards. He had everything to prove in beating a man who had vacated the belt years prior. Attempting to gain the upper hand by any means necessary, he would attempt the art of mental warfare.
Can't come soon enough, man. I'm ready to shut this guy's mouth. My numbers blow you out of the water. All you're gonna do is try to point fight and dance around. That's all you do.
Knocked people out?
No, you do not.
Okay.
You know, who are you knocking out?
I just knocked out a top 5 guy after 3 years out.
Emulating the scathing remarks of Conor McGregor against a man as durable as Cruz was simply futile. It was a race he had ran many times as a vet of the game, and instead of attempting to withstand the verbal assault, Cruz would counter with his own, coming with the cold hard absolutes that rattled Dillashaw to the core.
All right, man, I'm done talking to you.
You can't be done talking to me. You're right here facing me, dummy. You gotta talk to me. You have no choice. You got nowhere to go. Keep talking.
He's just gonna try to overanalyze this because I don't need to.
Why?
Because I don't want to.
I think you're scared to talk because you don't want to say what you're gonna do because you're scared to eat your words.
When Dillashaw's plan had backfired, his look for a way out was telling. Mentally defeated, only his fighting could now do the talking.
And new UFC undisputed bantamweight champion.
I've never felt the love like I have for this one, guys. I'm I'm here with you guys. Thank you so much. Boston, everybody, but honestly, nobody's retiring me except for me. I've been through too much.
Dillashaw had crumbled, but just like Poirier before him, he would learn and grow as a result, and soon use the same techniques that dismantled him to capsize the mind of his toughest opponent yet. Cody Garbrandt was the name, a man who would go on to do what TJ couldn't inside and out of the octagon. He had resisted Cruz's mental game and dispatched him with flair to claim the strap. The key to it all was that Garbrandt wasn't fighting on emotion, rather the pure desire to chart a legacy and do what many of his teammates had failed to do before him. Cruz was in his eyes one of many, and despite failing to counter verbally in the build-up,
I'm gonna put your boy down.
Look, I never had to chase pussy in my life. On December 30th, I ain't doing it. I don't have to.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? We'll see.
he would best the dominator in the cage, but with the belt round his waist, new storylines would emerge. Dillashaw was once a long-serving teammate of Cody as part of Team Alpha Male, the gym spearheaded by Uriah Faber, but tensions would grow due to the former's attachment with striking coach Duane Ludwig, leading TJ to seek glories elsewhere and abandon the men he had spent years forging bonds with.
Uriah brought in Duane Ludwig as the striking coach, and TJ really hit it off with him. When Duane left and started his own gym in Colorado, TJ started splitting time between Alpha Male and Duane Ludwig's new gym. So TJ ended up leaving Team Alpha Male and is now with Duane Ludwig full time. And that pissed off, obviously, Uriah Faber and most of Team Alpha Male, including Cody.
Even before the bout was finalized, the mental seeds had been planted for Garbrandt. He was no longer fighting just for legacy as he once did, but the reputation of his mentor and the many fighters training underneath him. The Ultimate Fighter reality show would be the catalyst for both men. In a stroke of genius by Dana and the top brass, the two would be pitted as team captains before a scheduled fight between them later that year. Tensions would boil over as expected, Garbrandt being the first to react. And as the saying goes, whoever speaks first loses.
You're a little
Yeah.
That's what you are. Yeah. Getting
You're so
nice.
obsessed with you, I'll let you hold in my pocket. Let me get it out for you.
I'll take your pocket and make you my
More than that.
A man Garbrandt had once stood up to protect, now his sworn enemy. TJ had fed off the emotions Cody admitted, played into his fury. The story was written, and all that was left was one final chapter.
TJ Dillashaw! 50 rules in the locker room. Watch me like commands at all time. Watch pick shows at all time.
It's getting hot in here.
He's there! Dillashaw trying to finish this fight! That's it! Wow! TJ Dillashaw has done it! Dillashaw now a two-time UFC bantamweight champion!
A shadow of the Cody once seen in his ascendancy. No composure, rather the overcommitted to trade for a finish once the faintest scent of blood had been smelt.
You know, he was able to capitalize on a low left hand, a right hook. Hats off to TJ. You know, he battled back. You know, it's gonna be a learning experience for me, but I'm just thankful to be here with half health, have my teammates, my family, and I'll be back.
Post-fight interviews would tell a tale of accepting defeat and humbly returning to the mental drawing board. But both the rematch and Cody's subsequent downfall would prove the psychological scars would never truly fade. Unlike Garbrandt and Poirier before him, Ronda Rousey's mental destruction was not a result of other fighters challenging her ego, rather her own collapsing upon itself. Rowdy's self-confidence was in line with the public's perception. She fed off the fans, the superstardom, a mindset which ultimately led to her end. Those who remain on the true path of glory and gold tend to find the most opulent of rewards when all is said and done, whilst those who chase the money game often end up succumbing to it, falling deeper into the madness. And at the time, record of 6 title defenses had made her seem invincible, and she was no stranger to mental warfare herself, most notably in her iconic rivalry against Miesha Tate. As she headed into her 7th defense against the highly skilled boxer and kickboxer Holly Holm, Rousey would attempt to soul read her opponent, play the mental offensive in the build-up as she had done so effectively in the past. But the preacher's daughter was unfazed, and remained so come fight night.
Holly, the preacher's daughter!
Mentally and, of course, physically dismantled in a couple of minutes, Rousey's long-standing aura was the catalyst for her self-destruction. To have it all taken from you in such a brutal fashion would be a series of events she could never recover from. Even long after her retirement, Ronda still reels from the head kick that took her out.
Have you been able to, do you think about the last couple fights? Do you think about what happened, or have you processed it all?
I think I'd just rather not talk about that right now.